Alright, I got the center out of the back of the chewing stand, so I might as well cut that first, and then we'll do the shaft later. Alright. So I got a center drill here to put the taper in a little bit. If it's soft enough to cut, I don't know if it is or isn't. That drill's been resharpened, so if I kill it, no big deal. And then I got a big long boring head one, boring bar, and a short one here. So these are undercut pretty good under here, so I'm getting a tight hole better than a regular big fat one. This one has a little more clearance, that's why I got this one. This one's longer, so it'll tend to vibrate more. These have both been sharpened and modified before, so no biggie. So they go in here and you do your cutting with this. For now I can use this here cutter. So I have to rotate this over to 30 degrees. So it's 30-60 is the angle you use for center drills. That's what all these tapers are, they're standardized. 60-degree angles or 30 depending on how you look at it. So 30 degrees should be pretty close to right there. Give or take a couple. So you can move this wheel over here so you can cut. This has to be less angle than this. So you put a straight edge on there, you can tell. Of course I don't have a straight edge right now in my pocket. So you go like that, just eyeball it. Should be enough. I'm going to cut the back side, if I got enough room to do this. And I can see my taper's way the hell off right now. So that has to be worked on. Okay, get a little 6-inch rule, comes in handy. So, you see how the taper is not even close to where the center, it's not even close to being centered. So you gotta move that up. Now when you move it up like that, you put a lot of positive angle on it. When you're cutting hard material, you don't want a lot of positive angle on it. You want it to be pretty much neutral or slightly negative, depending on how hard it is. The harder it is, the more you go negative. It does more rubbing than cutting. So right now we need to just go up a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be relatively close. So now, you're going like that. Your center should be pretty close to center. So it might be slightly high right now, but we're close. So you go over here like that. Take your little scale, run around the back side. You go until you touch it and you get a tangent line. So ideally you want the scale to be straight up and down. So right now you look at it slightly angling this way, which means we're slightly low. If we're a little bit high, it would be angling the other direction. So just a quick test of your bit. The cutting bit goes off whatever surface is cutting on that, not necessarily what you think it is. If the bit is dull, it hits where it wants to. Okay, so now this is be able to cut. Do that. Now before I do that, I need to see how true my chuck is here. Now this one doesn't have to be perfectly true, but the center, the other shaft does. Do that with an indicator. Preferably perpendicular to your surface you're measuring would be nice. high spot right there. Right now we're 4th thou out. Maybe 3 thou. So now we go measure on the top of this, we get a more accurate idea of where we are actually up and down this direction. Alright, now we haven't cleaned the goo off the top of the shaft yet. You can see it's got crap on there, but I'm going to make sure it doesn't hit on the back side here. And we got about the same 3 thou out. Okay. I'm going to clean the goo off of this a little bit. It's kind of hard to measure stuff when you're on goo. Heavy stuff. Okay, nice clean surface to work to now. A little better, but still out of whack. So still a couple thou out. Okay, a high is that way. So that's number 4. Looks like number 3 is the high spot. So go ahead and loosen the chuck, turn it 180 degrees, come back and see if it's the same spot. If it's the same spot, you know it's a chuck. If it's a different spot, then it's the cutter itself is not concentric. This surface is not concentric to the shaft under it. Same couple thou out, and we are number 5 this time, which is 180 for number 3. Where's 3 at? Okay, it's 5, 4, so that's 3. Okay, so this used to be the high spot right here, now it's over here now. So that tells me we got some errors going on, and the center itself is probably the problem a little bit. So I'm going to loosen it up and rotate it, see what happens here. It seems to be pretty straight. Back at 5. So I rotated the center and the needle wasn't really moving, about half a thou is all it was moving. So it's pretty consistent. So that tells me my chuck is slightly out of center this way. So this chuck is adjustable for that movement. Takes a bigger wrench than that though. Thought it did. Let's see, where's my big wrench at? There. So I'll try to keep all my tools over here where I can find them. It's not inside of that. I don't see it laying here. Probably not laying down there either. Oh, it's probably over in here, or it got put away. This is my tool for my chuck. For a big ass Allen. Resembles this one right here. It matches. Okay, so this chuck floats. It's adjustable chuck. Now it's a 6-jaw chuck. It's a self-centered where you can center it, or not self-centered, you can adjust it. So this is not attached to this part here. It's on like a round shoulder, and then it's got the screws hold it. And the screws will jockey it back and forth like that until you get exactly on center. So this one here is off a couple thou. So right now, number 5 was kind of our high spot. There's number 5. So theoretically, if I tighten that down right there, that would move the chuck up, which is not the direction I want to go. So you go 180 around. There's 4 of these screws. Go over to here, which is next to number 2. And you tighten that one, and that'll lift the chuck up because it's the low spot, so it lifts it up because you're pushing against this plate right here. So there's a big shoulder that you're pushing against. Like there's a shoulder here. As you push on this, it's going to move it away. So it works the opposite of what people think it would be. And if that doesn't work, we'll go the other direction. When you start putting torque on these things, they do what they want anyway. Now I'm assuming I already got this pretty tight, but we'll see. Yeah, it appears to be pretty tight. So as we go down here, let's see if I loosen this one up. Should let it drop. Back down here and put that same torque back into it. And it doesn't want to move anymore. So we go back and forth until we get what we want. Here's I broke the needle. See, the needle's not moving. There you go, I got a couple. It's only a tenth or two. These are 1 thou increments, so you get a wiggle going on, you got a couple tenths of air. Okay, so that's pretty close now. That's close enough to work with. So now I go ahead and turn the taper, and we're on center. At least for this tool. We put the, we're going to do the same thing in this. When we put this in there, we'll see what it comes in at. We want to get as close as we can with that. Preferably closer than a 2/10 number. But maybe not. We'll see. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here and do this. So now I can be in a different location with this because we're cutting at a different angle. Doo-doo-doo-doo. See, now you can see what I'm doing because we're cutting over here on this side. Assuming I get this over, we can get to it. There you go. See, now when I'm cutting this, you can actually see kind of what we're cutting a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Let me go back uphill again. Yeah, close enough. Okay, so we're going to cut the back side so everything works backwards. We have to turn it backwards. So we'll go backwards. The angle slightly different than it was before. Check our angle here. I think it'll get worse if I move it. This bit looks very dull. One needs to be sharper. Get down to our bad spot. the low spot right here. It's actually hard and soft. I think it's more what you're seeing right now. The problem right now is our point's getting so pointy. It's a problem. It'll bottom out in the shaft and be a problem that way. So I have to actually cut it off a little bit. So I'm going to try cutting it off. This direction. Judgment call how flat you want it to be. Alright, so right now it's kind of usable, but I'm going to smooth it up and make it better looking. So you can see this different hardness on material. This is softer, this is harder right here. You see it's smooth, there's no grooves in it. But it's a rough ass finish. And you can see I knocked off the tit right there a little bit. So I'm going to take this out, I'm going to sharpen this, and we'll come back and try to make that smoother. Because I don't like a rough ass finish. So I'm going to sharpen over there on that grinder right over there. So we'll be back.